Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're so excited to have you all here.
Hi, Sarah.
You're back. It makes me so happy to see when your name is registered for these classes. Thanks again.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Welcome to everybody. We're so glad to have you here. I'm just going to be getting our video set up, and we're so happy to have Jodi Adams here today. Jodi and I are good friends, and so this is just another benefit of doing these classes is I get to bring in amazing people and good friends. So yeah, we'll get started in just a couple seconds. We've got about 17 households that are cooking with us today. And so I'm going to get this backup camera all set up, and then we'll be ready to go.
Recording in progress.
Hey, everybody. Well, welcome. We're so glad to have you here spending your Saturday with us. It's always an honor to cook with you. And I just want to introduce myself really quick. My name is Sarah Buckman. I've worked here at the co-op for almost 12 years. Again, I work in our marketing department, but also help out with education programs. And we're so excited to have Jodi Adams here today to be teaching our Ayurveda virtual class. And you guys met my coworker Liz yesterday when you picked up your kits. And let me just adjust the camera just one more moment. And yeah, we're so excited to be cooking together. I want to give you a little bit of a lowdown on our virtual classes. We do both virtual and in-person classes. In May, we'll be doing a Moroccan virtual class and also a New Orleans in-person class. And so we've been teaching in our kitchen for more than like 14 years. And so we've gotten hundreds of attendees and participants and teachers from our community. And so I would love to ask if you want to put it in the comments. I'll be keeping an eye out and want to make this as interactive as possible. These virtual classes are so fun because they allow you to really make all the dishes and then enjoy the full meal at the end of the class. So we're going to be making up a really delicious medley of dishes, and I always learn so much from Jodi when she teaches about Ayurveda and yoga. But yeah, let us know, have you taken a class with us before, or is this the first time? I always like to see. I know Angela has taken some classes, and I recognize some of our names from previous classes. So let me know. I'm always curious. Oh, great. Stephanie, awesome. This is her first class. Welcome. Yeah, and let us know which classes, if you remember which ones you've taken with us. I always am so curious. Angela said the Brazilian one, so fun. Okay. Well, great. Well, it's such an honor to have Jodi Adams here. Some of you might know her from her amazing yoga teaching that she does all around Champaign-Urbana. And we actually, 2 years ago, we had done a very similar class, and we had been planning it for a month, and I got COVID. And so Liz stepped in and she did such a good job. And they had an extra kit, so I was able to cook the recipes from home, and it really helped me. It made immediate improvement in how I was feeling with being so sick and having this really nourishing food. And so I'm so happy that we're able to do this again, Jodi. And yeah, and do it together this time. And I will, before we begin introductions, I just want to say, we're always operating in different kitchens when we do these classes. Everybody has different utensils, different knives, a different layout. So we want to make this as easy for you as possible. So as questions come up, please feel free to ask those. Also, if there's additions to the conversation or it makes you think of something, please, we'd love to invite you into the conversation. But yeah, Jodi, would you mind telling them a little bit about you and about your path with Ayurveda?
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
yeah.
All of you. Hope you're having a beautiful start to your day. I can't really say that Ayurveda stands alone without having done yoga for so long and then become a teacher. I've been teaching about 13 years. It's just interwoven within the lineage. And so it's considered the sister science to yoga. And this is where we talk about diet, lifestyle, stress management. And those are like the 3 pillars of health. And so without that foundation, it's like building a building. If you don't have a foundation, you can't have floors, you can't have, so to speak. Without a foundation in your life, you can't pursue your goals and your hopes and your this is so we talk about it's really this beautiful ancient practice. It's nothing new per se, but it might be new in our for us. And I teach an Ayurveda workshop at Amara, and so for years I've been teaching this, and oftentimes people are confused about the ingredients. There's a lot of spices and what is hing, what is asafoetida, what is a mung bean. And there's a lot of maybe fear to like start this process, start this journey of health using Kitchari, especially this time of year. We do it this time of year, typically because it's meant to be an assistance with your digestion. We rest and the food that we eat can help with our digestion. It rests the digestion. So when you're not feeling well, this food traditionally was used for younger babies and for the infirm. And so when you're not feeling well, it's kind of perfect. Not that she got COVID.
Yeah.
Sarah got COVID, but that it was available to her. She was able to see this cause and effect. And that's a lot of what Ayurveda offers us. I'm a fire person. There's all these elements in regards to Ayurveda. And the food that we eat has these elements in it. Like an onion, raw onion is hot, has a quality of heat to it. So if it's summer and I'm already like I've got that fiery constitution. It's the middle of the day, it's hot, and I eat like a raw onion, like increases like. Knowing that concept is really powerful. It's like adding fuel to the fire. And so what happens? We have digestion, we have heartburn, we eventually develop ulcers, we could eventually develop even worse dis-ease in the body. So when we talk about Ayurveda, it's mostly preventative medicine. How to prevent you from manifesting into these really terrible diseases. And then Western medicine steps in. So this is more of the Eastern approach, is prevention, which I don't feel like is talked about a lot in our culture. It's like, here's a pill, here's something to mask the problem. I think my favorite analogy is that Prilosec commercial. There's a plate of spaghetti. Some person is eating this plate of spaghetti. And the commentator is like, food fighting you back. And the spaghetti is like slapping this person across the face. That's funny. And they're just like, take this Prilosec OTC, keep eating this spaghetti. What is that doing? That is masking the problem. This person probably has that fire. We call it pitta. It's fire and water. They're probably already that constitution. They call it doshas. They shouldn't be eating necessarily that spaghetti. And maybe they can in a different time of day, a different time of year, a different time of their life, but not in that moment. So if your food is fighting you back, don't eat it. This person in the commercial probably could have and should have been eating maybe a cooler food, you know. And what's beautiful is that Mother Nature always gives us what we need. So whatever's coming out of the ground is exactly what we need. And right now, this is like the air ether quality. Air and ether is kind of hard to contain. It's a little bit here, there, and everywhere. You know, yesterday was warm. This morning, maybe a little cooler. There was like a frost advisory last night. And so with this variability, where's the stability? And this Vata Churna that we're going to be talking about, one of the spices, will offer us that ability to ground and be nurtured. And it's the herbs and the spices that are the medicine. It's the sweet potatoes that are coming from the earth. What is more grounding than this beautiful sweet potato coming out of the earth? And so, yes, this comes out of the earth in like fall, and that totally contradicts what I just said, eat what's coming out of the ground. However, we make accommodations depending on what we're feeling. And so we're going to go a little bit more into that. This might be a little overwhelming, but it's just 5,000 years of information whittled down into a 2-hour class. It's no big deal.
I love it.
But I believe in it. It's something that was woven into my practice and into my teaching when I was training to become a yoga teacher. And there were all these aha moments. Like, that's why my sister can eat a gallon of hot sauce and I eat a drop. And it hurts me. It hurts going in, not great coming out. Digestion isn't great. You know, I get that heat. I'm already fiery. I don't need any more of that fire. And so how can I use food as medicine to cool that and to really make sure that my digestion is healthy and that I'm absorbing all the nutrients that I need to really, again, live out my best life and do what we're supposed to do in life. Because what if you're here to fulfill a purpose that no one else can? And I truly believe that. So
I love that. Well, and I think it'll be really fun to deep dive into these different concepts as we cook and using unique spices and spice blends. So yeah, we're super excited. Has any of you taken a class with Jodi, or have you learned, have you heard about Ayurveda before this class? I'm really curious.
I'm curious.
I'm curious about that too. So let us know. And Jodi,
while we're asking that question, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no,
We did want to mention that the assafoetida, the hing, where is that? That's in the, it's already in the Vata Churna. It's already like in.
oh, it is, yeah.
It's mixed in already. So your Vata Churna already has it in because we pre-mixed this. I don't know why they do this, but one of the ingredients on the list that you'll see is called hing or assafoetida, and it isn't a wheat carrier.
They mix it in with wheat.
So this is not gluten-free. You could use, if you're making this in the future, you could use garlic powder in the future. This is not essential. So if you are gluten-free, and I apologize, I should have caught that sooner. This is not essential to use. And you could use some of the ingredients if you have that at home. A lot of people probably don't have the licorice powder. That's really hard to find. I had to order it online. You got it where?
Yeah, we got it at Fresh International, the licorice powder.
Okay.
But I think, let us know if anybody is gluten-free. Otherwise, I think you guys will be just fine.
I just wanted to mention it because my sister is, and I know I've been feeding her this for years until I found out. And now she found out the substitute is a garlic powder. So, and maybe your gluten intolerance isn't terrible that you could get away with it, but we definitely are focusing on healthy digestion today. So,
and it is like a 16th of a teaspoon. So it is a small amount.
That's so tiny. But still.
Angela said, I've heard of it. Did Amara do a workshop last year around this time?
Yes.
I wasn't able to go, but that's how I first heard of it. So that's Jodi's workshop. So Jodi does a lot of different teaching all over. You're also an occupational therapist, do so many, and a photographer. Her art was shown here. So multi-talented. But but yeah, you teach regularly on Mara, and then once a year or so you do Ayurveda workshops. So, okay, let's kind of dive into what we're going to be making today. Let's kind of go through the list and then what we'll need. So, we're going to be needing a food processor or a blender. If you don't have that, we can modify. Just let us know if you don't. You just have to be chopping some of these things finer, or you could use a mortar and pestle. We have a larger pot with a lid, ideally a heavier bottomed pot or saucepan. We're going to need some strainers, 1 or 2 strainers for the rice and mung beans, and then later on for the tea. If you have a special tea strainer, you're welcome to use that when it's time. We'll need a baking sheet for our sweet potatoes. We'll might need an additional saucepan for the tea. And what else? Knife, cutting board, peeler. But that's pretty good. And then we probably will be using a measuring cup, a larger liquid measuring cup, but whatever you have in your kitchen will suit you just fine. And if you don't have something, we're happy to brainstorm and workshop what would be a good substitute. But yeah, Jodi, do you want to introduce the dishes and
Yeah, great.
cool.
So the main dish is the kitchari. So it's the rice and mung bean, and that is the staple. It makes a complete protein. And so if you're doing an Ayurvedic cleanse, and this would be the perfect time to do it, your body's cleansing anyway. We're getting rid of all the heavy metals, the toxins. It doesn't matter how organic you eat, you know, how much you shop at the food co-op, how much you strain and filter rather your water. We breathe this air. We take in toxins. We just do. And so doing the cleanse every year around this time, since it's happening, we want to do these things that are physiologically happening anyway in our body around the time that nature supports it, and nature is supporting the cleanse. So you might already kind of be feeling that, you know, we're getting into that new spring energy, that you got to get out there and plant some seeds. It's a time of hope, a time of rebirth, renewal. You might be feeling even that kind of like almost like an agitation. If it's not contained, what were we gonna say? Like an antsiness,
Yeah,
right?
ready to get out there.
Ready.
In winter, you know,
Yeah.
and these tastes of summer with these warm weather, it just makes you want to, you know.
There's growth.
Yeah.
There's energy. There's good energy happening. And so what happens in our body? It's like this. The icebergs are melting. So all of the stuff that we've been holding onto in the winter is releasing out of the body. So a lot of people will experience like mucousy in their chest, or nasal discharge, or allergies is a big part of this season, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And so kitchari can be a really beautiful thing when we are adding the churnas based on how you're feeling. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So kitchari is the main ingredient. All the churnas, you've got 3 recipes, but we only made the one, the Vata Churna. And you know, the food co-op goddesses over here, you should see them like the days leading up to, if you ever come in here and you see them in here, they're like,
Yeah.
putting all these little ingredients together for sometimes up to like 30 people.
Yeah. There's
All
one
the
time
ingredients.
Liz counted, we had done a class and there was thousands of packages because we had some, we get grants sometimes to fund classes. And so, but yeah, all those little ingredients. So it makes us so happy to kind of portion them out so that you can get a full view into it and get to really make all these recipes with us. So,
but they do a lot of this heavy lifting so that we don't have to. It's kind of beautiful. So we're gonna do the roasted sweet potatoes. Again, that's more of like countering the Vata energy that might be alive. And I talk about Vata sometimes like it's a bad thing, but it's not. Like everything that's out there is also within us, like the air, the ether, the fire, the water, the earth, everything that is the earth is made up of, we are made up of, and we just have different compositions. Each of us is this like unique blueprint. And so the food pyramid is a lie. It's not a one size fits all. It's really, you have to stay discerning with what you're eating and cause and effect again. And then, at the end, we're doing the cumin, coriander, fennel tea. So the CCFT. If you've ever been to like a traditional Indian restaurant, And they have this lovely plate with these spices,
Yeah,
and you are welcome to take like a scoop of it and chew
Yeah,
on it
uh-huh.
at the end.
right. Sometimes
It's
they're coated in that colorful sugar
Mhm.
that look like sprinkles, but then when you eat them, you're like, oh wow,
Uh-huh.
that tastes like fennel.
Sure is, because it's good for your digestion. And
Yeah.
so this tea is to help promote good digestion at the end of a meal. So we're gonna do that too. So
And then a chutney.
did I not
Also.
say the chutney?
I think we.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Chutney.
Yeah, and we're gonna start with a
We're
chutney.
gonna start with the chutney.
So
I'll put these back in order.
yeah, we're gonna start with a chutney. Then we're gonna go into the kitchari, and then we're gonna talk about the Vata Churna, because that's gonna be spicing our roasted sweet potatoes as well as the kitchari.
And we put it in the kitchen.
And then we're gonna finish with tea.
Yes.
So then we'll have a full meal. And yeah, so I'm excited. I'm so happy to have you all here. Okay, so let's start with the cilantro chutney. So I'm gonna get some I'm gonna spotlight some close-up camera so you can see all the details. But we're gonna probably start with rinsing our cilantro.
Yes. Yeah, we have all the same ingredients that you have. Nothing new here. I used to be so particular about taking the leaves and only the leaves off of the cilantro. Do you know how tedious that is? It's not necessary. You can actually use, especially in the food processor or the blender, you can actually use the stems. So I was just picking off some of the,
Yeah. If there's any freezer burn leaves, feel free to
Yeah.
take those out.
if they look
We
dark
had just had a couple.
like this, we don't want them. And then they should look nice and green. This is super easy to grow too.
Oh yeah.
And I was just bopping over to Sola Gratia. Did they have some? I wanna
Oh.
say they might have had some, but you just put seeds in the ground and this stuff will grow. So I'm gonna take it over to the sink and just rinse it. You like to use this sink?
Yeah.
I like to rinse in cold water.
So feel free to rinse your cilantro. Now will you be using the stems in the
Yep.
chutney? That's great.
Especially with the food processor. Like if I were doing this, if I was making a guacamole, no. I don't take the stems off. Or if I'm just garnishing,
Uh-huh.
no, because I don't want to pick stems out of my teeth all night.
Right.
But when it's like this, I'm gonna grab the cut board. Thank you.
Okay, so
Having a
getting cutting
sous
board.
chef here.
Okay, so we're gonna be, you want to chop up the cilantro just a little bit before we
Yeah.
put it in the
Just a little bit.
food processor?
I'm still finding a little bit of the leaves maybe that we don't want.
But yeah, I love just throwing, you can, if you have just a small garden area in your backyard or side yard, you can just sprinkle those cilantro seeds, direct seed those just on top of the
Oh, great.
soil. And then you really don't even have to, I don't always water them. They kind of pretty hardy. So sometimes I'll just go out and just harvest some fresh cilantro. There's nothing better. All right.
Yeah, it smells so good. It's
It
so
does.
fresh. It'll add just a nice little pop to your kitchen. And there's so many different kinds of chutneys. This is just one of my favorites.
So we're chopping up the cilantro and just putting all of it into the food processor. You can use a blender. You could also, if you don't have either, let us know. People have, traditionally used a mortar and pestle, or you can chop it up really finely.
Yeah, I think
whatever works for you.
5,000 years ago, they probably didn't have
Yeah.
electricity, let alone
Yeah. They were probably
this
using
nifty gadget. It was probably
some
mortar
good blades.
pestle.
Mm-hmm.
Get all that
All
in
right.
there. And then
Cool.
we need the lemons. I'm gonna rinse the lemons too. Make sure you take the peels or the tags off the lemons.
Great.
And I'm gonna rinse those real quick.
And I think we might have a lemon squeezer. If you have that, you can use that.
Fancy.
But you could just use your hands. So how much lemon juice? You want a quarter cup? So should we measure it? Or I would do it the opposite way. Rotate the lemon, because then it'll squeeze. You do it like that.
Really?
Well, you can
I
do it
thought
your way.
it was this way, and then it squishes into the meat of the,
Okay, yeah.
I've never done it the other way.
I have only done it the other way. So there's many ways to do it, I guess.
So here's the debate. How do you squish your lemon? This is how I do it. And then Sarah does it the other way, which,
It seems weird, but yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I'm just gonna
yeah, do it your way.
do it my way. And we could do the measuring.
Okay, sounds good.
just
That way we
whatever.
are all on the same
Sometimes,
page.
yeah, at home, sometimes I'll be like, whatever, it's, I believe. Quarter cup, where's our quarter cup? There.
Nice. So you honestly might need both lemons, how it looks.
I'm gonna try it my way, and then I'll try it the Sarah way,
Well,
because I'm not opposed to doing things. Even
so
how
it doesn't even
do
look like
this.
it fits. Okay,
Okay, maybe I can't do
yeah,
it the
that's
Sarah
all
way
right.
with this
That's all right.
particular.
Thanks for trying.
Sarah knows her stuff, man, she can cook. You get an invitation to Sarah's for dinner, you are in good hands.
It's always one of my favorite things about this job is cooking with different people and learning from them. And, you know, we are always looking for different teachers. So if you are a really passionate cook and you're wanting to teach a class, reach out to me because we can help firm up a menu and talk about how the class can work. And it's really fun. And we feature a lot of different home cooks, ideally from all different cultures. Those are all of that's really our most popular classes. And we try to incorporate as many seasonal or local ingredients as possible.
Sounds very Ayurveda.
Yeah. And then, there are some things that we just don't have at the co-op. And so we partner with, like for instance, sometimes we partner with our local grocery stores like Bombay Market. They're wonderful.
Right.
I love them. And they just moved to university, but also Annapurna is another Indian grocery store. They are the ones that had the hing or the asafoetida. But yeah, so, there's there's millions of ingredients that, we like to support other stores sometimes for those special ones that we don't carry.
So yeah, 2 lemons was almost exactly
Okay.
a quarter cup.
Perfect.
Can't say I would have measured that at home, but here we are measuring things. It's like we know the rules and then we can break them.
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
Okay.
And then, sorry?
It says a little water. What kind of water do you think? Are we adding any water into the?
Usually I do a quick blend and see the consistency of it. And then if I feel it's too chunky, then maybe I'll add just a baby amount. And because you can't undo
Yeah.
you can't uncrack that egg. So, which, who hasn't ruined a meal with too much of something?
So we do potentially need a box grater or some sort of grater. You could also, since we're putting in the food processor for the ginger, it is going to get blended up, but if you want to grate, you can.
And yeah, I don't know if I would if I were gonna do food processing, but I definitely I usually do the nubs first,
Nice.
do the nubbins,
Okay.
and then they're easier to peel that way.
So we're just going to peel. Would you say you're going to peel all of your ginger or just a little bit?
For right now, I think I'm just gonna stick with the close to 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons. Okay, great. So feel free, you can peel your ginger with a little paring knife. Some people use the back of a spoon to scrape. And that can be fun too.
Let's see if that's fun. Is that fun? It's probably less dangerous. Ooh, especially if you're cooking with kiddos, that kind of works.
Yeah.
Especially if it's nice and fresh like this.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So if you're prone to like slicing your fingers off, that could be a really nice
Yeah.
way to do it. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, you can kind of,
pretty well.
basically you carve with the edge of the spoon and
Cool.
so that's been a trick that people have used in the past.
I like that.
But you can do it however you like. You can use a peeler, whatever
Oh,
you
yeah.
like.
Peeler
We've got a peeler somewhere if you need it.
That'd
We'll
be, like,
definitely
very-
probably need it for sweet potatoes. I also sometimes don't peel my sweet potatoes, so that's an option as well.
I always keep skin on.
Yeah.
I guess
Cool.
a lot of the nutrients are in the skin,
Yeah.
especially if that's organic.
Mhm.
If it's questionable, then maybe take the skin off, or maybe, just
Yeah.
make sure you're growing your own or coming to the food co-op. I grew potatoes for the first time. You saw them.
Yeah.
Was that insane?
You
or
had
what?
blue potatoes too. That was
They were
amazing.
beautiful.
All right. So how's everybody doing? So we're just working on the chutney. So we have all the cilantro stems that we chopped up really quickly, kind of loosely, put them all in there. We squeezed both lemons, and now we're working on just peeling our ginger.
It's probably 1 tablespoon if
Yeah.
I'm lucky, and so I'll probably do another chunk. And again, I'm eyeballing it. If you are really particular about it and you want to measure, just so you have a reference of like, this worked. And again, less is more. If you are not sure about how ginger works for you, you can always add more later.
Right.
So you don't have to do the full amount.
Mhm.
And there's this part of the ginger too that's kind of like rough.
Skin,
And I
yeah,
always make
dried
sure that
out.
I chop that off, and you
Mhm.
probably already know that, but sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Oh, that lemon and cilantro is the best.
Mm,
So there is a secret for grocery stores with hydrating cilantro. So if you ever get a bunch of cilantro and you think it's starting to kind of wilt a little bit, all you have to do is slice like maybe an eighth of an inch, or just a quarter of an inch of the cilantro stems, the ends of the cilantro stems, and then you put it into a bath of cold water, and it is it's the perfect thing to kind of rehydrate your cilantro. We do that always for our bunches, and the whole back room in the produce department just smells like so aromatic and
love it.
delicious. So that's always a tip. I'm one to always buy different herb bunches, and then sometimes I leave it to die in my in my drawer. And so
The drawer of good intentions.
yeah, right, exactly.
Oh, don't we all have one of those?
Okay, so
All
we
right.
did put our ginger in, so around 2 tablespoons, and we did larger chunks, so you can grate or put them in chunks depending on how much you want it. The food processor will help
I
blend.
feel like, yeah, when I'm doing this food processor, these are so intense that I don't feel the need to grate or get tiny
Right.
pieces. Working for me a little smarter rather than harder. At this point, I'm just gonna blend it. So we have some lemon juice in there for some liquid, the cilantro and the ginger, give it a good blend,
Okay,
and then we add the honey to taste.
okay.
And so maybe we want more water, maybe we're gonna add a little bit of salt, and this is where it starts to get into like a personal preference thing. And so
Alright.
we're all locked down, make sure this guy's locked down,
Yeah.
because who hasn't done that?
I know. We all have. All right. So you want to pulse, just blend? Do you want to
Let's,
blend here?
pulse it.
Okay. And what kind of consistency are they looking for? Fully green?
It's gonna be like pesto.
Yeah.
And then let's pause for a moment. And then do we have like a scraper or
Yeah, we've got a
I
spatula.
can get it. I see it.
Okay. So yeah, we do have some little stems over here. So just try and, oh,
My goodness.
ooh.
Amazing. So at this point, I would probably add a little bit of water. Because we probably used up all the lemon juice. It's looking still a little chunky. And so I'm just gonna use the same measuring cup we do to
Yeah,
to this water.
Yep. So a little under a quarter cup,
Little under a quarter. And
maybe
I don't
like an
even need
eighth
to
of a
add
cup.
that much. So I'm just gonna kind of do
Probably
that.
like a tablespoon or so.
And we're
Okay,
gonna put the lid back
beautiful.
on and we're gonna blend again. And I like to do this like little bits at a time because I'm living and learning.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But yeah, you want to make sure that ginger is blended.
Should we take a peek?
Yeah.
So I love this. This is very similar to like working in a dark room. When you get to see the magic unfold, when you take the lid off, you're like, what's happening here? Is this the consistency that I want? There's a little bit of good wateriness in there. It's blended pretty well. I don't see any stems. I'm not seeing like chunks of ginger. So at this point, I would add the honey, and you could start small with the honey. You can add a little bit of the salt. So we've got the Himalayan salt, right?
Mhm.
And that's for this as well.
Yeah, I think we
Or the sea
have
salt.
the sea salt.
My
for
bad,
that
my
one.
bad, sea salt.
Himalayan. I don't know when we're gonna use the Himalayan. I know we're gonna.
Probably in the,
Yeah, but if
Kitchari.
you want to use both, you can. So we do. I would say use pinches. You don't have to use all the salt. We gave you
Yeah.
more than you need. So just, would you say like a quarter teaspoon, just a pinch?
yeah. Couple pinches, boop,
Okay,
boop,
great.
pop it in. And then here we've got, I'm gonna use a fresh spoon for the honey. In case you don't use this all, you don't necessarily want to contaminate it, because what if you just want to eat the honey raw later?
Right. Or if you want
Put
it
it
in
in
your
your
tea.
tea.
And this is local honey from Sassy's. We love them.
And so according to Ayurveda, you never want to cook honey. You never want to heat honey. So yes, it's fine. You make a tea, you add honey to it, but cooking honey changes it and it makes it into this like toxic sludge that you just don't want. It's hard for the body to digest.
Mhm.
All of this wisdom of Ayurveda. Okay, so now that's a very dirty spoon. Get that out of the way.
All right. So we added about a spoonful, like a generous spoonful of honey. And then we're back in, remember we added our salt, so
Do that the wrong way. Thank you.
all good. And we're gonna pulse it a little bit more to blend that together. Okay, that looks good.
And so at this point, I would recommend tasting
Tasting
it.
it, yeah.
Do we have more?
Yeah, we've got plenty of spoons, so feel free to taste yours. I'm curious, let us know what you think. And if it needs more honey or salt.
Yeah, really personal preference here. Look how beautiful
I
that color.
know.
It's stunning. I really smell the lemon
Mm.
juice. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Oh, the lemon and ginger. Wow. Mm. Yeah.
I would add more salt.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Mm.
So this time I will pinch it.
Okay.
Maybe one, maybe two. And again, personal thing. I'd probably also add a little bit of honey because that is biting. So because I have that fiery quality already, I can feel the heat on my tongue. And you feel heat on
Yeah.
your tongue. I don't need more heat. Honey is going to offer that coolness. Can I get another spoon? Because
Yeah,
I have
sure.
no idea which one I put in my mouth.
No problem.
I'm gonna just, I don't know which one I'm. There we go. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look how cool that spoon is.
I know. We've got
Kinda
some,
like-
we went, this was pre-COVID when we went shopping at Salt and Light, and we got all these different cool spoons. So if you ever need any additions for affordable additions, definitely recommend it.
I've been estate sailing. I went to one
Oh,
yesterday.
nice.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, they're about to pop off, I'm sure.
There's garage sales happening
Nothing
today.
more fun than looking at everybody's jewels. Okay.
Any questions? Everybody doing okay?
Let us know when you tasted it. It's a really I love the lemon and ginger.
Mm.
So it's bringing all those aromatic spices out.
Okay,
Okay,
let's do one more
One
blend.
more.
I
So we
feel like,
did add a little bit. We added most of the honey that we gave
Yeah.
you.
and like, there's still salt left. I didn't do a lot of salt. And I feel the water quality is good.
Mhm.
If you refrigerate this, you could lose a little bit of that wateriness. And so you would just add a little bit more to reconstitute it.
Mhm. Okay,
Okay,
good.
let's try a taste test again.
Yeah.
We're gonna go through all your spoons,
That's
Sarah.
fine. Yeah,
What do you think?
that's it. Very good.
I don't mind that it's a little bit watery,
Mm-hmm.
at all. Because this is gonna dry out probably as we keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So let me try a little bit of that.
And it is possible if you store your cilantro chutney like a day or so, the
Mm.
top might be, top might get a little bit dark from oxidation. So you could put it, we always recommend to put it in a smaller container um, when you put it in the fridge or whatnot. Okay, so we're
Right.
done.
So we can set that
Yay.
aside.
We're gonna
That's
set the
done.
chutney aside for when it's time.
We did that first, just to kind of break us into the cooking thing.
Yeah.
Super easy,
Great.
and messy. We've made a nice chaotic mess here in the kitchen.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the Kitchari. So you're gonna need a pan. But first, we're going to wash our yellow split mung beans and basmati rice. So how do you want to do that? You want to use a strainer?
What I typically do at home, I have a glass thing just like this. Maybe it's even a little bit bigger. I just pour it in together
Okay.
and I soak them for a while. The more you can rinse and soak these things, the more you'll get the residue off of the rice, the residue off of the mung bean.
Mhm.
It can also, if you can soak it overnight, that helps soften. Because again, it's about resting your digestion. And so the more we can get this to kind of like almost like a porridge consistency,
Mhm.
the easier it is for your digestion
Mhm.
to really assimilate this into your body. And so, but it's cool if we're just going to soak this for a sec. So now you can see double layer, and I'm just going to add water.
So we're gonna do like use cold water and just
water.
strain it. You just want to let it soak for a little
I'm gonna
bit?
sit for a minute while I get my other ingredients together. But then
Okay.
yes, Sarah was absolutely right. I love these strainers because that way, and I've used colanders, but then you lose your rice and your mung bean maybe through the big holes. If you don't have this, again, that's fine. You just find a way to make it work. I've actually put like sometimes even a paper towel or what are those cloths?
Yeah, like cheesecloth.
Like a cheesecloth in a colander, so I don't lose all my, particularly the rice. It's
Yeah,
just a
because they're so
finer-
fine. So, okay, so we put this in cold water. We put both the mung bean and the rice in there, and we're just gonna let it sit while we
And-
prep the rest of our ingredients.
And look at the residue that's happening. When she moved that, do you see that residue? We don't want to eat that.
Yeah, so some of it is a lot of it's starch, but you know, it's the process of drying rice and beans, leaves you with maybe dust or other things. So rinsing it is always good.
Contaminants. I've even
Yeah.
found rocks in rice.
Yeah.
Like you just
Good
rinse
to
just
strain it.
rinse it. Okay.
Okay, so
let
that's
me
straining.
let's put chutney out of the way.
Okay.
And so we've got our ingredients. So let me also mention, you see that as yellow mustard seed. I did that purposefully. There's a black mustard seed. The difference, now you know, is that the black is heating. The yellow is more neutral or cooling.
Yeah.
And so, where is my mustard seed?
With the cumin and mustard.
Sweet. Okay,
Mhm.
there it is.
So cumin and mustard container. We're gonna need our ghee. Probably not all of the ghee. We're gonna need some for the potatoes. We're gonna need our Vata Churna.
And let's do a little more of that ginger
Okay, great.
while everything's soaking. So I'm gonna
Okay.
take this delicious, amazing ginger. They also, when I stopped by the, tell me again on University, Bombay Market.
Yeah.
They had huge bins of
Yeah,
ginger. Just
yeah.
go to Bombay Market.
It's fun.
And have fun. Like I didn't even buy anything. My sister bought, she was doing the cleanse after she took my Ayurveda workshop. She didn't have anything, so she bought the all the ingredients there. And I just went for the fun
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
super
I didn't
fun.
have to go at all, but I was like, let me see what's going on.
Mhm.
And they have that Mama's Kitchen.
Yeah. And that's a great spot. They've got dosas and other Indian. And I think they even have chai. That's
Yes.
such a great
They just offer free chai, hot
Ah.
chai as you wait in this Mama's Kitchen, and it's just ready-made food,
yeah.
of which I have sometimes no idea what it is. And I'm like, I should just go there when I'm hungry and
Yeah, that's
try
super
it.
sweet. If anybody's taken any of our classes with Sarisha, Sarisha loves Bombay, and she's been a great person to translate and introduce me to a lot of these different Indian spices, as well as Jodi. Okay, so we're moving on to Kitchari. So you're gonna need to get that larger pot, make that accessible, and ideally we really want something with a lid. And so we've gotten our Himalayan salt, our cumin and mustard seed, our ghee container, and then the Vata Churna. And then Jodi is, you've like done like a decent sized chunk of ginger, like
Yep.
1.5 inches of ginger. She peeled it and she's chopping it up. So we want peeled and finely chopped.
And this cooks down really well. It's not like it's gonna be like a blast to your taste buds. It's just ginger. There's a lot happening here. It all just comes together really nicely. But this is also a very personal thing. If you don't want this much ginger, please don't use it. And this, we do want to cook it or cut it down into more of the finer size. However you do that. You can see I did not go to culinary school. So this is chaos cutting. This is chaos cutting at its best.
I say whatever knife makes you most comfortable is always the best. And you don't have to. Sometimes I use those bigger knives for just everything, and I'm like, okay, but yeah, as long as you're comfortable with what you're cutting, that's great.
I love to start with the paring knife to get the
Skin off.
skin. That word, and then cut it down small. And then when it gets to this point, then I usually come in with this big honking knife and kind of do one of these guys.
Yeah.
To start to finely chop. Because we do want this to really blend in really nicely.
Have any of you guys made have used mung beans before? Like the split mung beans? We have the whole mung bean, the whole green mung beans. We're using yellow mung beans today. But I'm really curious about if there's any ingredients in here that you're using for the first time.
Good question.
And we're using ghee, which is a clarified butter, and it's in the previous class with Jodi a couple years ago, we made our own ghee, which was really fun.
So fun.
And so basically what that is you're slowly heating up your butter, and then you're kind of filtering out and scooping out the butter solids and any of the foam and liquid water that's coming out of the butter. And you're kind of left with this shelf stable ghee. And there's Jodi probably knows more about the nutritional benefits of it, but it's really delicious. And we're using Organic Valley's ghee. So it's a grass-fed butter, and it's a really great, but yeah, it's shelf stable. So you don't have to put it in the fridge.
They sell it at Meijer. They sell it in bulk at Costco. That's where I got my last bit of ghee.
Yeah.
You could make it, you can just look up the recipe online. Like I said, like Sarah said, we did it a couple years ago. It's fun to do, but it gets rid of a lot of the solids that people have a hard time digesting. So if you are lactose intolerant, or maybe not intolerant, let's say a sensitivity to lactose, you could eat ghee and get away with it for the most part.
Yeah.
It's a trial and error. It's a cause and effect. It's a, let's see, let's see if that actually is true for me.
Angela said, never cooked with mung. They look like lentils. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're really small and tiny. See, look at how much they've hydrated in just this time. They've already expanded. I don't know if that's Gabrielle, says we're subbing vegan butter. That's totally fine. This is like actually a really easy switch. It's almost all vegan except the ghee. So if you're vegan and we're so glad you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I was becoming certified, I'm a Ayurveda yoga specialist, and I went through training through the Himalayan Institute. My teacher blatantly said that Ayurvedic cooking isn't necessarily vegan, but I don't necessarily believe in that. I think it's not a one size fits all. I think you have to find what works for you. And if using, a substitute is important to you, please, of course, do. Ghee is not essential to life. What works for you is more important. And the benefits of ghee are many. This can, when you're doing the cleanse in particular, it acts like it draws out the toxins in the cells. And so if you're actually doing a cleanse and you can eat ghee, if you do dairy, that can be a beautiful benefit. But if you're, if you choose a lifestyle that is non-dairy, that's more important. So let's take a look at the ginger. This is about the consistency that you might want it. It's just nice and fine.
Nice
on the cupboard, and that's about how much I'd want for my Kitchari. Okay, so we did the ginger. Is that the only measuring cup we have?
We have more measuring cups, but they're not liquid.
Not liquid.
Or
Okay,
actually we do.
because we just want the 4 to 6 cups water. Oh, let's do the spinach.
I know that one's a little tricky, but I can just give you a regular measuring cup.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll get the spinach ready. This says it's been thoroughly washed, so I trust that.
Yeah, they usually wash it like 3 times before they put it in this box.
I
So
trust
to find a speck of dirt is usually actually hard with those, but if you like to wash your spinach, you can. Okay, so
And then the avocado for garnish. For avocados, I always take the peel off just so it doesn't accidentally get in your food. And I always take this little nubbin off because you definitely don't want that either.
nice.
And then depending on where I get it from, sometimes I even wash my avocados because when you're slicing through, whatever's on the skin, you're gonna just transfer into the meat, into the heart of it. So sometimes I also wash. I'm just gonna do that just because I'm talking about it. I'm just gonna wash the avo.
And they travel hundreds of miles,
Right?
thousands of miles. Okay. Oh, Gabby was like, thank you, smiley face.
So I taught yoga in Costa Rica for 2 months, 2 months. And I was alone for a while. There were no guests. I was in this like little casita all by myself. And it was a little freaky because there's all these jungle sounds. I'm in the jungle and I'm alone. Like the closest person is like a 15-minute walk up the hill. Only the owner was there. It was just kind of a lull in the attendance or whatever. And there were critters and creatures. And all of a sudden it sounded like somebody was bombing the roof of this casita. And the next morning, and I was freaking out. I couldn't sleep. I had like the covers up over me, like they could save me, as if covers could save me. The next morning I went out, I'm like, what was falling on my roof? It was avocados.
No way.
It was avocados. And so I collected them and then I had them with my...
Oh my gosh, fully ripened and smashed.
They were
almost made into guacamole by the time it hits the roof.
It was amazing.
Awesome.
So,
That's so great. Okay, so maybe let's start rinsing the mung beans.
Yes.
So your process is just going to be pouring it into the strainer over the sink and then probably doing a couple repeats of it. Nice.
So you're not gonna get all of it out. So I just keep the water running.
Okay.
And I'm rinsing.
And you're trying, there will be a lot of starch that comes out now that we're hydrating it, especially with the mung beans being split. There's just a lot more starch.
Thanks.
So feel free.
And when the water is running clear, then you know you're good to go. So I'm looking at the water running through. It's a little bubbly. Sometimes that's how you can tell. A little dirty looking. It's a little cloudy, not dirty, just cloudy. But it's starting to run really clear now. And I'm not getting any kind of funk in this strainer.
Okay.
And so I can let that go. I'm gonna just let it strain here.
Yeah, great.
I'm gonna rinse out. I'm gonna use the same measuring cup, but I'm gonna
Yeah.
rinse it so it doesn't have any of the residue on it.
Sounds good. And good. And then how much are you filling up? You're
Well,
doing
this
about
one
2
only has
cups?
2, so I'm gonna have to fill this up at least a couple times.
Okay.
So the variation in the water content in your recipe is also a very personal thing. It's 4 to 6 cups. And why is that? The more water, the soupier it's going to be. Oftentimes I feel like I'm dehydrated in life. Hydrate or die. I'm just chronically, I think, underhydrated. And so I would probably add more water to my meals if I could. And so I would probably want this to be more of like a soupier meal today. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, that's great.
Sometimes I'll even split the difference and go with like 5 cups, but that is the only difference. So it's up to you if you want it a little bit more.
Like stewy, like thicker.
Yes, it'll be thicker with less water, a little soupier, not too much. It's not going to be like watered down, well, yeah, a little stewier, a little soupier. So
Okay.
we'll be doing that 2 more times.
Okay. Should we heat up the pan?
Let's heat up the pan.
All right. Are we looking for medium heat, high heat? What are you thinking?
Usually medium.
Okay. Our pans, I will say, for those of you that have taken these classes, it heats up right away for us. So I would say we could add the ghee in relatively soon.
Okay.
Our induction pans just heat up almost immediately. So we're gonna add 1 to 2 tablespoons of ghee. You thinking leaning towards 2 tablespoons?
So let's do 1 tablespoon for the kitchari because we want to reserve and make sure you've got plenty of ghee or whatever you're using as a butter substitute for the churna.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna add 1. Get your spices ready. And then could I get a spoon for
Spatula?
stirring?
Yeah.
Maybe that wooden
One
spoon.
spoon? Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of wooden spoons. So get your spices ready. I'm dropping the ghee in.
Okay. So heat the ghee in the bottom of heavy bottom saucepan. Saute the mustard and cumin seeds until you hear them pop.
Smell that.
Mm.
Smell your food. Amazing.
So we're wanting like a medium heat. We want that ghee to be hot before we add the, but ours is gonna get hot pretty
Yeah.
fast. So I feel like this is what people call tempering spices. So
Yes.
when you're activating dry spices, whole spices, or even blended ground spices, the act of having them sizzle is a tempering. It brings out the oils and all the flavors and health benefits.
Sometimes I'll even do the herbs and spices without the ghee, and that does the same. That even activates it even more. But I also like to just get it right in the ghee, get it going. You turn it down a little bit.
I was turning it up a little bit.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. And so you'll know this is good to go when you start to hear the popping. It's like popcorn. So it's kind of fun. Smells so good.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite smells. It was making me hungry.
And so Ooh, we're getting some popping. So also we want to make sure that we're not burning this. So just add in your mung beans and your rice
And stir.
stir, stir, stir.
Just a quick little stir to make sure all the ghee is covering. So it's like you're toasting the rice and you're toasting the mung bean. And so that feels good. And I've got my water at the ready. And it's not all the water that I'm going to use, but I've got it at the ready so I'm not burning it. And I'm going to add the water. And now I'm safe. Now I can like take my time with it. So those first few steps might feel a little like,
Yeah,
or happen quickly.
or like the rice will start to stick before you add the water. So that's a good sign of like it needing the water. So
So we can turn this up because we're going to boil this. So I'm going to add more water while she turns that up.
okay, so we're looking for like a gentle boil. I'm assuming that works.
We're going to go for a high boil
High
for
boil?
3 minutes. High boil, 3
Okay.
minutes.
Okay, great.
Just to like get all the ingredients together.
So ramp up that heat. And you're adding
I
a
did
little bit more water.
6,
Okay,
right? These are 2. So I'm adding 6. I did 1, 2, and then now 3.
great.
So
So-
we're gonna make it a little soupier.
We're making it soupier. You could probably add 4 or 5 if you wanted it to be stewier, or thicker. Okay,
I'm gonna add a little bit of the salt before it boils.
great.
So again, I'll probably just do a few pinches of this.
That's great.
I never pinch from the source. Does that make sense? Like I would get a separate dish, kind of like what this is, but probably like handmade by one of our friends.
Nice. Or you.
You
She's also a potter, so.
I never pinch from the source because, you know, our fingers have like oils and we don't want to reintroduce those, you know, into the like the original salt container.
Mhm. So we're using the pink Himalayan salt for
yeah.
this, but you could use either. But it's fun to use this fancier
Yeah.
salt. Okay, so we're looking for a boil. It might take a little while and we're gonna put the lid on. Okay, and we still have our ginger. We haven't added any of that. We just
Not yet.
added, it was just the ghee. Then we tempered the cumin seeds and mustard seeds, added the mung beans, added the rest of the water. And now we're looking for any signs of boiling. And
Yep.
once we see boiling, then we'll turn it down and simmer it. And then we'll add the ginger. When do you want to add the ginger?
I add it before the 20 to 30 minute cook.
Okay. It says in the recipe card, it says to add the ginger before that, but we haven't added it yet. So you can decide when you want to add it or
It sure
Okay.
does. This is where you know the rules and then you break them.
not.
It's
Oh, and we haven't added the churna yet either.
no, but you could,
But
because it sure says that in there, but and we don't want to add all the churna, so please don't, because we want to reserve some of the churna for our sweet potato.
Yeah. So we're going to, we're probably gonna start adding the ginger and the churna once we see the water heating up a little bit. And
It's heating up.
it's heating up.
You want to add it?
Sure. So you're gonna add all of the ginger and then how much of the churna would you be adding? It says 2 teaspoons. And I've got a teaspoon here.
Yeah, again, it's just a little bit, because most of the flavor really coming from that sweet potato.
Sure.
We want to reserve that.
And yeah, I think we have a lot, churna still.
And let's be honest, like at home, I make my own Vata Churna. I make my own, the other two, the Kapha and the Pitta Churnas. I just have them. And so if I wanted, I could add this whole thing in my home recipe. And then I would have this whole amount for the sweet potato because I just want to lather. Once you taste it, you'll know the sweet potato with the ghee, with this Vata Churna, like smell this.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, it is so good, but we're gonna just be a little more.
Yeah.
not discerning, what is the word? A little less liberal and add just a little bit. And I'm just gonna boop it in. I'm not even gonna measure because that's just the chaos I create. Okay.
You might want to mix it a little bit beforehand. Let's see.
I thought I did, but
I would just mix it up a little bit
Alright.
because we did add a little
I
bit
shook it, but I didn't mix it.
because we've got some of
Sarah,
that.
was better.
We've
than
got that
me.
secret. Well, when we were adding. So let's stir it up a little bit. Oh my gosh, so cute. Okay.
That's cute. I'm gonna use
Yeah.
this. Let's just use it. All right, I'm gonna stir this up even more.
So we're adding the churna. We're adding about, I would go with the recipe, 2 teaspoons. We'll still have plenty for the sweet potatoes.
Boop.
All
There we
right.
go. At least
And
you know
then
that's
what
good.
about the gingy?
Let's do it. I'm gonna
Okay.
pop
So
it.
let's go over a little bit. So we're gonna add the ginger. We're gonna add all of it, the 1.5 inches of ginger chopped.
And really quick, I learned this from a chef, that you don't, I used to scrape with the knife edge and I learned that dulls the blade. And so you wanna, if you do this scraping action, and I don't care that there's a little bit of that cilantro getting in there. I don't care. But I'm doing it with the non-sharp edge of
Yeah,
the
it's
blade.
clever.
That was just a nice trick and I learned that late in life, so you're welcome.
And then maybe we should just stir
And stir it up. Yep.
this up.
We definitely wanted to get it into that 3-minute boil just to get it heat transformed. So we really want everything to just kind of come together in a really lively boil.
Mm-hmm. And put the
So-
lid back on.
Yep.
So ours is probably heating up a little bit faster than yours, and that's okay. But yeah, we still want that high heat until we reach that boil and then cook that for 3 minutes and then we'll turn it down.
And I actually have a timer that I typically use on my stove, or maybe you have one on your microwave, or maybe use your phone. You could like say, hey, Google, set a timer for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Isn't technology amazing?
Love it.
I wanted to cover really quick the reason we talked a little bit about the mung bean. Why are we using a split yellow dal mung bean? If you use the green, it has the hard casing
Mm-hmm.
over it. And it is harder to digest. By using the split yellow mung, it's easier for the body to digest. And we're working towards that, using food as medicine. We're not trying to work harder, we're working smarter. So not to say the green is bad, it certainly has its uses, but for our purposes here, again, this is something that is it's like the Indian chicken soup. It's used at the cleanse time, which is happening now. A traditional cleanse could last up to 3 weeks. So the first part of it is like a week where you just get rid of all your vices, get rid of all the temptations in the kitchen, start to eat clean, get rid of the sugar, get rid of I even got rid of coffee one time, that was a roller coaster because I appreciate that addiction. And I went back to it. It was purposefully. Once I did kick that, I actually went back to it. But
So we're at a rolling boil now, and I'll do the spotlight because we are getting a little bit of that foam, yellow foam coming up. Let's see, I'll show you. And so we're gonna start our 3-minute timer, sweet. How's everybody else? And so it's possible that do we still want the lid on when this is happening?
cover it.
Okay. It's possible we might have, it might not overflow.
To overflow and then
Then
take
we'll
the lid
open
off.
the lid off.
So yeah, if it starts to overflow like this, it kind of might, maybe I would crack it.
Okay.
And if it still looks like it's going to, then you could just take the lid off or turn down the heat a little.
Okay. All right. We have about, let's see, I think it's about 40-ish minutes. So do we want to start preheating the oven?
We can.
Okay, so we're going to preheat the oven to 400. for our sweet potatoes. Okay,
So I'm gonna wash, did I wash these already?
I don't think so. Not
I'm
yet.
gonna wash the sweet potatoes. Just give them a good rinse.
We love these Japanese sweet potatoes. Has anybody tried these before? The Japanese ones? They usually are noted by having kind of a firmer texture inside, a whiter texture inside, but this beautiful like purple kind of maroon
Gorgeous.
skin.
Look
Yeah.
at this beautiful sweet potato.
Stunning.
Maybe I should try and grow these this year.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that'd be great.
So you could use a traditional sweet potato. I've done that in the past, but there's just something like Sarah said about these that I just really love. I think they also retain their shape a little bit better, so they don't just like fall apart into nothingness.
Oh, Nuri says, yes, we call it guguma.
Guguma.
Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. We call it guguma in Korean. And then Angela says, is garlic possible to use in Ayurveda?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so are we going to peel these or no?
I'm not going to peel mine. You are welcome to peel yours. Are you cool with
Yeah.
the skins on? So I'm just going to get rid of the nubbin at the end. Probably the nubbin on the other end, just so the nubs are gone.
Ooh, Stephanie says these sweet potatoes make awesome smoothies. Ooh, I'm interested. Do you cook it ahead of time and then put it in smoothies? I'm so interested. And we're also at that 3-minute mark, so we're gonna put the lid back on because it was at a really rolling boil, and we're gonna reduce the temp just a little bit.
Actually, quite a bit. So this is just a simmer. So put it on your low heat, maybe not the lowest. We want a little bit of action, but
Lower than this. Lower than this
let
one?
me give this a quick stir. So it
Uh-huh.
looks like we've got, is this hot?
No.
So it looks like we've got some stuff, some flavor, some herbs have gotten into the sides of the pan, the pot. So I'm just gonna give that a little stir just to make sure that that all gets incorporated in there.
And you can tell that the mung beans and the rice are really starting to hydrate. I think soaking it
Maybe a
in
little
advance.
less.
Yeah, sure.
Just a little less.
So we want to kind of gentle simmer.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
So
She
there's
said-
all, sorry?
Sorry, the quick response about the sweet potatoes. She said, bake and then make the smoothie with that. I'm going to need to, I would love that recipe. I would love that recipe. That sounds delicious. We've also had, in the past, Japanese purple sweet potatoes. We don't always have them, but they almost have a rose flavor to them when you bake them. It is stunning. Yeah.
So these are really, they're quite dense. And so be very careful when you cut them. Typically I would cut them into medallions. And then they're easier to flip then. And so maybe, I don't even know how to help you measure that. Is that like a half an inch?
Yeah, I would say like 1/4 to a 1/2 inch.
Which this is not my equipment, my knife, but that turned out all right.
Yeah.
If you have one of those, what are they called?
Mandolin.
Mandolin,
Uh-huh.
you could certainly use that. I even like the little nubbins, and when I check it at the halfway point, sometimes these nubbins are done early and then you get to snack.
Uh-huh. So are you wanting to do slices or
I like
diced?
these.
Oh, okay. So kind of like scallop potatoes, but for sweet potatoes. So
Little medallions.
medallions. Okay.
And if they're not perfect, this one's not perfect. Well,
That's okay.
neither is my life. So, but it's gonna taste good nevertheless.
Okay, so sliced medallions.
Just be really mindful. These are really dense tops.
Mhm.
And this one's just gonna be thicker, and lucky us. It's gonna be delicious.
Delish. Ooh, I love, everybody is such a big fan of Japanese sweet potatoes. I love it.
We're in the right place.
I think it's Gabrielle said, yes, and do you add other fruit? This is for the smoothie. And then Nuri says, you can make a latte with them too. So good. I love it. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of different, I know that there's a lot of Japanese kind of desserts that use sweet potato as well. And sweet potatoes are typically really great for like hormone balance. And I love the flavor of Japanese sweet potatoes. there's nothing, um, there's something really special about the orange sweet potatoes, like the color of orange sweet potatoes. But I did notice it can be a little bit stringier texture. And so after Jodi introduced the Japanese sweet potatoes with the ghee and the churna, it's my new favorite recipe. I do it all the time.
And this was something that I learned when I did the certification. The way that we are cooking this is from the Himalayan Institute. That is the lineage of this. If you want more resources on Ayurveda, if this is something that's capturing your attention, that's a wonderful resource. They have a beautiful campus. You could go and do retreats. They have yoga, meditation retreats. You could learn more about Ayurveda. They actually have videos. They also have products that you could purchase.
And of course, probably churnas and
Yep.
So the churnas are basically the spice blends. So let me know if I'm wrong on this, Jodi, but in a way, the churnas they're all a little bit different, kind of tweaked for different like compositions. And the Vata, Kapha, Pitta churnas are all kind of like different seasonal spice blends that like the Kapha churna, if we're looking at the recipe card, Kapha, that has a lot of like warming spices, like the cinnamon and the black pepper, and the ginger. What would you say would be like if you were to describe the differences between the churnas, what would you say?
So they're related to doshas, and like what Sarah said, it's your constitution. And so and what I said earlier, we all have those elements within us. We break it down to other elements, but you don't even have to know these words. This is all Sanskrit. There's no other way to really describe it. But kapha, like she said, has more of the heating element to it. We are actually in kapha season. We're moving towards kapha season. Kapha is where you want more of that heating and that warming. The reason we're doing vata is because Vata is they call it the king of all doshas, but I call it the queen of all doshas. And it's variable, like we talked about, the freeze happened last night and now it's warm today. And then what's it going to be tomorrow? And this can cause that restlessness that we talked about earlier. And so Vata, when Vata's not happy, nobody's happy. And so I usually do a Vata Churna. When I'm feeling imbalanced, it's typically Pitta. And so I'll do like a cooling Pitta Churna. And you'll see that those ingredients have the cooling qualities to them.
Like the fennel.
Yes. But all the other times, typically I'm doing a Vata Churna because typically that's what's imbalanced. So again, food is considered medicine. Spices can be your medicine. You can adjust these things. I have a pre-made, they sell them here, the glass containers with the black lids for your spices. I get a, what do you call it? A funnel. And then I just funnel all the ingredients in, and I have one that's for kapha, one that's for vata, one that's for pitta. So depending on how my digestion is too, if my digestion is too fiery, like increases like, I'm not going to add more fuel to the fire. I'm going to do a cooling. So I might do a kapha, I might do a vata. If I'm feeling more airy qualities, a lot of gas, a lot of burping, maybe there's like, my joints are popping, I'm feeling ungrounded, I'm going to do a Vata Churna.
Yeah.
And again, you can look up all of this information online. Himalayan Institute, like I said, is a really great resource.
And they're called doshas. So DOSHAS.
Yeah, dosha.
Dosha. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, we probably should get these little guys in the oven soon. So we need to melt the ghee first. Okay.
So do we have a little saucepan for melting? Okay.
We've got, we could probably use this one or a saucepan.
Let's do a little saucepan for melting. Or no. I'm sorry, you're right. Let's do that.
We've got a little guy here. This might be perfect.
Do that. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. And then probably put it over here.
Just a low heat.
Okay, low heat. And we're gonna just melt some ghee. And then add some of the churna into it so that we can kind of spread it all over our,
This is like the best part. Though eating it is gonna be the best part, but
yeah.
I know what's to come.
So
So I'm super excited.
we're gonna use all the rest of the ghee. And just melt that down. You might need a spatula.
Probably really low heat for this, really low. Put this on low heat. This does not need to be, the ghee's gonna melt. It's gonna want to melt. It's gonna be really easy to melt. You ever read The Handmaid's Tale? I know everyone's watching the book. Watching the book, watching the show.
I haven't.
Okay.
That's-
Margaret Atwood, amazing
Yeah,
author.
she's-
But I remember like the main character, her hands were so dry, they didn't give him any like hand lotion. So she asked for butter. And every time I use ghee and I get a little bit on me, I just work it into my skin because you can put this on your skin.
As long as it's not salty.
There you go.
Maybe even salty.
Probably not salty.
Yeah.
So I'm
This
gonna
one is
add,
salty.
I'm gonna add this until it's just like a nice consistency.
So not all the churna, or you,
Well, we'll see.
okay.
We'll see.
So we're adding like a couple tablespoons.
And I don't want this to be that hot. We don't want this to boil. We don't want it to get-
Temper.
I might reserve a little bit of the churna because
That's good.
that's looking good. It's like a paste. You want it to be a little pasty.
Mm,
And do we have the pan to put the,
yeah.
because then it's like I'm gonna assembly line it.
Okay. So did I turn the heat off? Or do you want it still a little?
Off is fine for our purposes because we don't have a gas stove, but so now
Oh, okay, you're just gonna dip them in?
I'm gonna dip. Ooh, that's hot. Do we have
Bonks? Hmm. I don't know. We could always do a bowl.
that's true. I'm just gonna do that.
Yeah, I'll turn this off so it's not
Yeah.
hot. So we're kind of just dipping them into this oil and spices so that they're fully coated. You could also pour it into a bowl and kind of mix it. Whatever you think is best.
So good.
Mm.
And the kitchery's going. It's just doing its thing over there.
Yep. And it's looking here, I'll give a spotlight on it. It's doing pretty well.
It's nice you have the glass lid
Mm-hmm.
so you can see what's going on.
I just, here we go. It will fade soon, sorry.
You just steam the camera.
I did. Okay, we're good. Back at it.
More.
Here, I'll move this over here.
And sometimes for a snack, I will just snack on these sweet potatoes when I'm like, well, I want something, but I'm not sure, and maybe I don't have anything else. If I don't want to make a full kitchery, maybe I make a rice, but I will eat the heck out of these medallions because they're just so good with any of the churnas. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a little pasta. So we're kind of just dipping them, flipping them.
Dip and flip.
And the thinner they are, they'll cook pretty quick. So
Yeah.
we did preheat the oven to 400. So you haven't done that. Now's a good time for that. Mm, and feel free to taste it.
Pretty good, right?
Ooh, yeah.
And you want to make sure they're pretty coated before we cook them up. These are really thick. So let me get these thinner ones. This one's gonna be chunky.
Okay.
Smells so good. Has anyone been feeling any of the stuff that we've been talking about? Maybe yesterday, a little lethargy, maybe even Thursday. But then also the variable quality being like, or then you're agitated and you're maybe restless. Any kind of shifts, things like that, shifts in energy.
That is nice.
Because again, the food is medicine, so if that's food for you, you eat well like this, then can you notice the change after you're addressing that imbalance by adjusting your food, adjusting your diet? That's the whole purpose. So if like increases like, then opposites pacify, and that's the medicine. That's really all you need to know. If you go outside and we're cold, we're gonna put it down. Our digestion is cold, we want to heat it up. We want to add a little bit of warmth. But yeah, in a perfect world, I would have more heat. Because I'm running out. Which is fine, you know, make do with what you have. Don't skimp on, if you have more sweet potato like I do, and less of this ghee, churna. Set the sweet potatoes aside, and we'll have to make more of that later to address the rest of the sweet potato. We definitely don't want to skimp on it.
Or you can make it into a smoothie for tomorrow. A Vata Churna smoothie.
Oh my God.
I'd be a savory, always savory. Okay, so depending on your oven, these will go in for about 10 or so minutes. Might be a little bit longer depending on your oven. Great. Okay, we're gonna go into the oven with our delicious potatoes. And we have the tiniest little oven that's convection. So ours is always a little bit faster than others, but that's okay. It'll be plenty. And you'll have a delicious lunch by the end. Okay, we're doing so good. So we've got about a half hour. So
The last 5 minutes, we want to add.
yeah, I think we're basically there.
Okay.
I don't know, depending on how yours is looking, ours is always a little bit faster. So let me describe it. So we have kind of like a solidified mung bean dal right now, and all of those little bubbles, it's kind of still simmering, but there's not a lot of liquid. So if you did a little bit less water than us, we did a full 6 cups, I would definitely consider taking, maybe stirring it, make sure that the bottom has enough water. Ours really does.
And when I take the lid off too, you notice how there's all that water? I usually do this and let it drip in.
Drip in.
And that way you retain the water rather than getting it on your.
A little dry at the bottom.
It's like done. And then we can turn the piece down even more
Okay.
and add the spinach. And as you might know, spinach. I think
water.
that's it started with this like gigantic amount of spinach and then ended up with like.
I know, it's so funny.
So you can add quite a bit and it looks like it's gonna be a lot and then it's not, it's not that much. So I'll probably just add a couple
Big handfuls.
and then call it.
Okay.
Always add more.
And just stir it in. And this will also add a little bit of liquid. But I would definitely take a look. So our rice looks like it's fully cooked and it's kind of blending in with the mung bean. You kind of want it to have its own.
Yeah, look, it looks porridgey.
Yeah.
Scoop out maybe just a little bit of just
Yeah.
look at how it looks just porridgey.
Just take these, especially I love having the spinach. Yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna add more spinach. You guys decide. I feel like adding all of it is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Do it.
You know, nobody likes those like 3 leftover leaves the next day. You know, like what do you know, you could also just eat it. I eat spinach. So we're just mixing this in. And our temp is a lot lower. So we are at a very, very like minimal heat.
Done cooking. It's just now for the spinach. And after it's cooked, it can be off altogether, put the lid on.
And let it
wait for the
sit.
potatoes and let it
Sounds
just
good.
sit.
Should we want to taste a little bit? Do we need any other salt or anything? Okay. And everybody, let us know what stage you're at. Is yours still cooking? Is your rice and beans and your mung beans, are they kind of fully cooked yet? It might not be. It might still need a little more time.
Careful, it's gonna be super hot.
And yeah, it'll be super hot. So let us know what you think so
I
far.
am gonna lid it.
Yeah.
But yeah, look how much water was kind of wasted. So I always, when I take the lid off, I dump the water in.
I love it. Maybe a little more salt. Good though.
So satisfying. All right. Where's our
So we'll try to take it off.
salt?
Add a little more salt.
Again, even when I lifted it again, I wanted to dump the water in, so I don't lose that. And I'm gonna add. Sarah and I are like the same person. We like the same thing.
Yeah.
Bought house around the same time.
We did.
have
In
the
the same
same-
area.
We same aesthetic.
We do.
Buy the flowers for our garden.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you want to know a great flower gardener, Jody's got the greenest thumb. So everything on her property that she's been growing is just like abundant. I joke that she has like a nursery at her house.
I'm pretty. Sarah comes over and picks like flowers. Her place is gorgeous. I love her house.
All
Really
shade.
sun. She has all shade.
It's
So I
all
have
shade.
All sun and no shade.
Stephanie said, mine needs a little bit more time. Angela says, mine is cooked. I used 5 cups of water and I like the consistency. Great. Go for it.
She was right on then.
Yeah, spot on. I'm curious how, let us know what amount of water you decided to use and what, the consistency looks like. That's one of the things I love so much. It's like a little bit of variable change per recipe, depending on people's likes. We did add more salt. If you had any leftover, in your pan or in your bowl from the potatoes, you could always potentially scrape it into the pot at the end.
Everything's on your plate. You're gonna
Like
maybe
drizzle
a
this.
little bit over the whole thing.
Love it.
Just
Mm.
amazing with the chutney that we made.
Love it.
We've got some wrapped amino acids.
Oh,
that we
yeah.
use. I love. I have a sprayer, so it
Uh-huh.
adds just a nice like disbursement.
Yeah, love her. And then we've got the avocado too. That'll be cooling and
It's
a nice
so nice.
fatty.
Good fats.
Uh-huh.
Good fats.
Okay, why don't we actually have a little bit of time, so I'm so glad. And our taters, let's take a look. They're doing really well.
Hot tip.
Yeah, yeah, I do. It's probably close, actually. Let's take a look. Our oven is faster, so if you're just looking for your potatoes to be fully cooked.
Sometimes I flip them over. If necessary.
So let's take a look. So we're getting some good sizzle. They still need some time.
Sometimes I flip them
Oh, nice.
just so they don't all cook unevenly.
Uh-huh.
And that way, when you do the fork test, you can tell, especially this thick one is not ready, but this little baby one
Mm-hmm.
is
Teaser.
starting to look good.
I don't
Nice.
normally slice my sweet potatoes like this, and I'm gonna do that more
I
often.
love the medallions, and
The
then you can
medallions.
cut them down after if you want.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which ones you flipped anymore.
I flipped over here. Yeah.
I'll let you finish that side.
Okay, back into the oven.
Sarah does it all. Camera, oven, hot pad,
It's always so fun.
and then another maybe 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
What I love about Ayurveda is that someone who's like a true Ayurveda practitioner, they don't really eat out a lot, because one of the main ingredients in their food is love. And so eating food that's made with love really does make such a huge difference. So make sure that you're adding a heaping pile of that into your food today. And always.
Yeah.
And it's not just the way that you cook it and what you put into it, but then how are you eating it? Oftentimes we're eating on a run. We're eating in our car, we're eating and we're not even tasting the food. And so how can we really digest? And so after you eat your meal, give yourself time to digest. We rest to digest. And so give yourself like 10 minutes. How did that food make you feel? Is there gassiness? Is there bloating? Is there heartburn? Is there indigestion? These are important things. And so when we're eating on the run, sometimes we can't even tell that. Or because we're eating on the run, that's what's causing the imbalance in the way that we're able to digest our food. And if we're not digesting it, we really can't take in the nutrients. And if it's not worth slowing down for to really savor every bite, why are we eating it? If we're just eating it to eat it,
Yeah.
that's not really how we were made. We were made to really sit and savor the food. And then after your 10 minutes, rest to digest, you can take a nice walk, 5 to 10 minutes. It's funny that now our Western culture, our Western science, our Western research and the science of it is catching up to Ayurvedic wisdom and just reinforcing everything that Ayurveda already knew. They're like, oh yeah, walking after meals is really helpful.
Yeah.
Ayurveda has been telling us this for 5,000 years. So all of these things that are like, oh my God, yeah, it's like brand new medicine. No, it's been with us, again, this preventative medicine for a really long time.
Gabrielle said, I added a bit extra water with the spinach, but now it's a bit porridge. Is that okay? Oh yeah, ours is too.
Porridge,
And it is
all the way.
That's what you're kind of looking for, is that porridge. And the water will also continue to hydrate. And even tomorrow with if any leftovers, it'll be really, really thick again. So it's okay if it's a little bit watery.
Yeah, when I reheat this and I don't microwave because it irradiates your food, I usually put it in a saucepan with water and more ghee. And the other thing with Ayurveda, typically leftovers is considered dead food. In our culture, it's really hard. Like we do meal planning on weekends and we eat that all week long. Ideally, eating the food that you prepare that day is the best way. So like the apple, or let's say that avocado that fell on my roof in Costa Rica, and I went out and I harvested it and I ate it that morning. That had the most prana, which is the energy contained in whatever it is that you're eating. And so these foods that are like grown 100,000 miles away and then shipped to us, the longer it's off the vine, the longer it's out of the earth, the longer it takes to get to you from, farm to belly, the more it loses in terms of that prana, that pranic energy that we need. That's really our nutrients. And so, yeah, having that backyard garden, maybe you can't do your whole thing in your backyard. You can't have the victory garden of your dreams, but coming here and eating what Sola Grazia has provided for us, maybe having a little herb garden, something that is a little bit yours that you can just go and harvest and add to what it is that you are eating can be a really powerful thing. And even the stuff coming out of the ground now, dandelions.
Yeah.
I picked, what did I pick?
Yeah, ramps.
I picked ramps yesterday, just in the wild. And so we can add those to our meal. There's all this stuff coming out of the ground that we can just put into our meal. So foraging naturally is really also a powerful way to get those nutrients. They say that we're overfed and under nutrients. I don't even know what the word is, but we don't have the nutrients that we need. The soil is depleting, just from mass production practices. And so the soil is getting stripped of all those minerals, we're mineral poor and we have too much food. So the reason that we're eating so much and we never feel satiated is because we're never getting the quality of food that we need.
Yeah.
So getting all of those 6 tastes in our diet, which this Kitchari will provide. So it's got pungent, it's got salt, it's got the sweet with the rice, it's got all of the 6 tastes that we need to have that completeness, to feel complete in our diet.
And the umami also.
And
the,
umami, yeah.
all the
Which is the
flavors.
seventh taste.
Do we want to make the tea now?
We could start the tea.
Because I think
if
our
you have
potatoes
some
are almost
downtime,
ready.
If you are at home and you've got some downtime like us, we
Yeah.
can start the tea.
Okay.
So, here's me just going on and on about Ayurveda.
I
Sarah's
love
like,
it.
well, how much are you going to talk about it? I'm like, just a little, and then I can't stop. I
Hey,
can't
this
help
is
myself.
called Ayurveda for a reason.
I get really excited because it's just for me, again, it was like those aha moments, like, oh my gosh, that's why this is why when I eat that food, I don't feel good. Or when I
Yeah.
eat this food, I do feel good.
Right.
And it's not per family. Like I said, my sisters are very different. What they can consume and what makes them happy. And because it's not just the food, it's everything. It's the company we keep. It's the colors we like. It's everything. And it's so unique. And so it reinforces that we are this really unique person.
And I feel like as you get older, like as a child, you know, I didn't really fully see the ramifications of what eating does or what a meal would do to my energy level or how I feel. And so as I get older, and I think that a lot of us like really notice the almost instantaneous changes of when something's a really good food or something not, you know, what fast food feels like afterwards, you know. So it's really great to kind of connect it back to these cultural wisdoms and like connect it back to the herbs and spices and knowing that like, okay, you can adjust that everybody's body type or dosha, you know, could be supplemented with different recipes. And that's just such a cool thing.
It's so empowering.
Yeah.
It takes the power back into your own control. We don't have a lot of say over a lot of things, especially lately. Might feel a little tenuous, but we have power over, for the most part. If you're here during this class, you probably are able to like come to the food co-op and maybe get some nice things and maybe eat more organically and spend a little bit more now. And that's the big argument. Well, organic's expensive. Well, so is cancer. You either take care of yourself now and the foods that you're taking into your body and assimilating and making tissue and bones and skin and hair, or down the line, we pay for it in other ways. And that can be really tough. And so,
and it's just so nourishing day to day and makes you feel good. And yeah, it's so great that we support all these local farmers. We do about $1 million in sales and for about 100 producers in central Illinois area. And it's like all of that goes right back into it too, with the prana of like energy of knowing where your food's coming from. And so
right down the street.
Yeah.
How lucky are we? The eggs are just
I know
not that far away. The meat has never maybe been frozen. It's not overly processed. It's what a gift this is. So grateful to be here.
Oh,
being a part of it.
I've been looking forward to this after missing it out on the first one.
Right.
I just really great. Angela said, this Kitchari is awesome. Awesome. Yay. Okay, our potatoes are looking like they're getting red or kind of brown. So let's take a look. I think they're done.
Okay.
Even the big one.
Even that big one.
So they look more golden in person, almost orange. And so let's take a quick look.
The fork test.
Fork test.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, even the biggest one.
I was going to say crusty. It's kind of it's got that like
pocket.
The top
pillow
is a little bit crunchy, I want to say. This one's nice and browned, but the inside is like so soft and cooked. So nice. So nice.
Okay.
I need 2 cups of water. Do you know what
2 cups of water? I know they always do the milliliters. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah. So we're going to do 2 cups of water into another saucepan. Okay, and we're gonna boil it. High heat on this?
Yep, high heat. And then I add this, yeah, the water before it's boiled.
Okay.
It's just so delightful.
Ooh, that fennel adds such an interesting smell to the cumin. It kind of like lifts it sweet at the end. That's great. And so we're just dropping the whole seeds into it. And so
It's in
that was
there.
a teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of coriander seed, and teaspoon of fennel. And so we put the seeds into the water and we're gonna just
Wait for it to boil.
wait for it to boil. And as soon as it boils, do you wait a little? Oh, then you boil for 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, because we
Okay.
really want to.
Extract that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't typically like open the seeds, do you?
Haven't. I think the
Yeah.
boiling process
Yeah.
takes care of that.
Yeah, great.
But you could open it up even more if you want to like mortar pestle.
Maybe let's stir the seeds into the water a little.
You can already tell the water's got a discoloration, so it's already taking on the nutrients
Mm-hmm.
of
That sounds
our medicine.
good.
Our digestive medicine.
It looks so good. Okay, so maybe we could start plating some
Yeah.
things. So I guess the one thing of note is we boil this for 5 to 7 minutes and then we'll strain the seeds out.
Mhm.
And then you want to wait to drink it until it's comfortable temperature wise.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, we've got this extra strainer we can
Yep.
use.
perfect.
Also great so that it's nice and fine, so you don't get any of the chunkies in your tea,
Mm,
unless you like that sort of thing.
okay. Let's get some. So should we chop up the avocado
Yeah, I'll do it.
and then I'll get some do you like bowls or plates? What do you prefer for the
Probably
kitchery?
bowls, and
Yeah.
it could be a shallow bowl. It doesn't have to be a. Butter knives up here.
Yeah.
They've got.
Yeah. Okay, so some shallow bowls. Okay. Lovely. Okay, we're at a boil, so now I'm gonna keep an eye out on 5-ish minutes. Do you want a lid on this at all?
We could, yeah, that way all the steam doesn't just
Okay.
evaporate all the water away.
Okay, so we're gonna put a lid
I
on
usually lid it.
and I'll stir this in. That way we trap it all in. Ooh, and it's starting to smell good. Okay. Um,
So we could take the kitchery.
okay. And I'll get a close-up of these so we can show it all. Okay, so we're doing some shallow bowls. Oh my gosh, look at that color though. It's so hydrating looking.
Gorgeous.
And we have that coconut liquid aminos, which is kind of like a alternative to soy sauce. And that will add kind of like a little bit of saltiness. Ooh, yummy.
You mind if I just plate yours?
Yeah, please. And some potatoes. This looks gorgeous. I love the colors from that turmeric, Oh, I love that you're gonna like make it pretty.
Might do amino acids first.
Okay. Just a little drizzle. And I will add that little salt. Mm-hmm. And then just some avocado. And that's like so nice and cooling. Oh, I love it.
I mean, I love avocado.
I love avocado
So
too.
bring it on, right?
Agreed.
And then the chutney.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot about the chutney. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I forgot. Okay.
Which again, a little goes a long way, so you can't
Right.
necessarily undo the chutney once you've done the chutney. So you could kind of remix it a little bit with a spoon.
And our tea is getting there. You can really tell it's going.
Have just a little bit of the
Mm,
chutney.
yeah. You can
So
put the
look at
chutney
that.
onto the side. That looks great.
You want a little bit more?
Sure. Why not? And those will add some like
Mm.
powerful flavors.
Amazing.
Look at that.
I would eat that.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah,
I'll make my
let's
own.
make yours. And then we'll eat together. Okay, so for straining the tea, it might be great to just utilize this again.
Yeah, perfect.
And then
I think it's been 5.
I do.
Okay, did you turn it off?
Not yet. So
Do we need a?
do
No,
we?
that's okay.
Okay.
Then that's okay.
So we're gonna strain our tea. This is what it looks like right now. It's kind of darker. It looks great. And it smells, makes
like
everything.
nutty,
Yeah.
earthy.
Mhm. Be careful straining.
I would probably do this in the sink, but we're gonna just like go for it.
Oh, look at that.
Gorgeous.
Lovely. Our bodies are gonna feel so good after this
Oh
meal.
my gosh.
You know, this is like a total form of self-care, you know.
It is.
Okay. And so let's put this in some. Look at how gorgeous that color is. Okay, you guys. How is everybody doing so far? Any questions? I think it's time to assemble your, oh, and if there's any leftover of that churna and ghee, feel free to top that off on there too. The liquid aminos is just going to be kind of drizzled on top of the kitchari as like a little soy sauce, salty umami flavor. So we have it drizzled here.
A little.
Or
Goes a
if you
long
don't,
way.
you don't have to add the liquid aminos. That's just something Jodi really enjoys.
It's just a great way to get some of those vital amino acids into your diet as well. You can add it to all kinds of stuff, not just through kitchari. So
Okay,
can add
I'm
it to
so excited for
soups.
this. All right, so we've got our tea, we've added our chutney on the side here, and our avocado, and then you kind of drizzle the last bit of that ghee and
Churna.
and now it's time to try it. Oh my gosh. Whoa.
What's standing out?
It all blended so good. Weather's so good. I'm speechless. Absolutely speechless. It's all blending so good together so well. So definitely, if you haven't tried it yet, definitely try it with all of the fixings
Oh
because
my
it's
gosh.
just really hitting the spot.
This is just so satisfying. It's like what your body has been craving and you didn't even know it, right?
Also, it has just like the super comfort of the kitchari,
Ah.
and then it's elevated by the chutney,
Mm.
but it still has that churna. What do you guys think?
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. They're great. Is everybody still cooking? Are their potatoes still cooking in the oven?
That's almost no fair. Your stuff
know.
goes so fast.
Yeah, true. Oh, this is delicious. 4 minutes left on my potatoes.
Okay.
You got it, Nuri.
We're like eating in front
I
of you.
know, sorry.
Is that rude? Sorry.
Potatoes just got done. Excited. Angela said, "This is delicious. Remind me of the red herring." Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah. The red herring has been doing pop-ups now once a month. So definitely recommend that. Oh, good. Everything is awesome. Yeah, I'm so curious to see what is your favorite flavor. Do you like the chutney? Do you like the kind of softness and comfort, kind of neutral kitchari with that beautiful color? I'm so curious. Let us know.
And I
And
would say when you do potatoes at home, add all the butter, add all the ghee, like let this be swimming in it. This turned out a little dry
Mhm.
today. I think if I were doing it at home, I would just slather it in ghee.
Mhm.
It's the good kind of fat. It's not like.
Yeah, and they could always add more butter or
Mhm.
oil or vegan butter if you're cooking with that.
And that's why we did less of the churna, because if I had added all of this, ooh, that would have been a powerhouse to what little ghee I had, and we reserved some of the potatoes. We just didn't have enough to go around, so.
Good. Oh, Stephanie said, "Wow, delicious."
Yay.
I know, isn't it good? And it's such a unique recipe, but it's something that like just really hits the spot. And like once you eat it, you're like, "Oh, wow, this is."
So satisfying.
It's like, yeah, your body like needed it, you know. And anybody try the tea yet? Because it's so good, and that fennel really lifts the flavor.
And also according to Ayurveda, your digestion is strongest if we're looking at times of day, at the 10 to 2 hour. So the Ayurvedic clock turns around twice in one day, and from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., that is pitta time, that is fire time, and that's your digestive time. And so eating your largest meal, not at night like we do in our culture, but in the afternoon is the best bet. So eating a lighter meal so that you actually have time to digest it. Is one of the healthiest things you could do for yourself, is to not eat right before bed. So give yourself that 3-hour window, so that you actually are digesting. And we rest to digest again. And so that sleeping is where we assimilate all the nutrients. We rest for purification. We sleep for purification. And that's when that pitta time comes around again from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And that pitta transforms and that fire transforms and we digest our food during that time. So if you're awake during that time, you ever get that second wind from like 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and then you're like, well, I'm up.
All too often.
And you're like, well, it's party time again. And you missed that window for the purification of your body. And so you really want to take advantage again of those natural physiological things that are happening for you. And it's not like 10:01, you're not going to turn into the pumpkin and miss that, but like start moving towards sleep.
Yeah, or like cycles, like it's just noticing those cycles.
Right.
You guys, thank you so much for cooking with us today. I hope you had a great time and I hope you really enjoy this lunch and delicious meal. It means so much that you guys took the time to sign up, pick up your kit, cook in your kitchen, and I would love you guys to take any photos that you have from the meal. Feel free to tag us and we'll get it back to Jodi. And then Jodi, you do Ayurvedic consultations, so she'll meet with you to talk about your dosha or any recommendations that she would give for Ayurveda. So definitely feel free to reach out to Jodi or attend some of her yoga classes every week at Amara or other places. You also go to Riggs and do in the summertime.
Beer and yoga.
Beer and yoga.
You would think very the opposite of this, but
it's fun.
Joy is also a part of health.
Yeah.
And so like doing an Ayurveda consultation with me is a little bit like a coach. And when people speak it out loud, like, oh, wow, that is my lifestyle. That is my diet. That is my stress management or lack thereof.
Mhm.
And setting goals, like 3 goals that are achievable within like 6 months. It's really powerful when you have someone that's helping you and guiding you through that, especially if you have some imbalances or feeling really stuck. So that is something that I offer.
And I invite you to make the other churnas or the other spice blends and see what differences you feel from those. But yeah, we'll let you guys go and have the rest of your weekend. But yeah, it's always an honor to cook with you. Stay tuned. We do promote our upcoming classes. I'll probably finalize everything in the next couple of weeks. So keep your ears peeled and eyes peeled for our New Orleans in-person class. That will be one that will sell out really fast because there's only 12 seats. And then we've got a really amazing Moroccan virtual class planned. And so that will be really great. We're excited for that. So thank you guys for coming.
Thanks,
Elizabeth Stern
Angela.
said,
Oh, thank you.
oh, thanks, Angela. I'm so glad you came. Hope to see you soon.
too.
Got a beautiful day.
And wow, delicious. Thank you, all delicious. Thank you. This was great. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you. It was fascinating. Thank you. Excited for lunch. Awesome. Feel free to take pictures and we'll keep you posted. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.